The book publishing world and all of its different options seems to be increasing at an accelerated rate. But there are still the tried and true paths of traditional and self-publishing. But there is a third option that has come out in the past decade. That's hybrid publishing. It promises the best of both traditional and self-publishing. But is it the right path for you? Well, in today's episode, we'll break down what hybrid publishing really is, the pros and cons, and how to avoid falling into the trap of vanity presses. If you're exploring your publishing options, this is one episode you won't want to miss. This is Your Path to Publish. I'm your host, Zach Christensen. For the past decade, our team has guided authors just like you to find the best path to publish your book, get people excited to buy it even before it launches, and to turn it into the ultimate business card to build your business and your legacy. If you are ready to get your book out of your head and into people's hands, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Since book publishing has been around, the dominant publishing path has always been traditional publishing. A lot of that has to do with the barrier to entry has been really high with distribution, cost, and so there really wasn't a lot of opportunity for people to pursue different publishing paths or for those to really exist at a strong, high level. And oftentimes, most authors aren't as satisfied with their traditional publisher as they thought they would be. So I really started to dive deeper and learn about hybrid publishers back in the mid-2010s. And around that time, there was different publishers popping up with different models of helping authors to self-publish. And that could be from offering no advance, but having better royalty rates. It could be from charging up front to helping with self-publishing. There's a lot of different options there. Along with that, there was a lot of confusion that happened to know really what is the best way for someone to publish their book. And that really is highly dependent on the author and their goals. But as I dive deep into hybrid publishing, I've learned that there are some incredible hybrid publishers out there. And that there are also some who are really not hybrid publishers and they don't deliver on what they say that they promise. So let's dive into what is hybrid publishing. Hybrid publishing is a mix of traditional and self-publishing, but it's not just about the financial side of things. The key features of a hybrid publishing is that authors are sharing or paying for upfront the full amount of production cost. A traditional publisher usually covers all those costs to get the book design laid out and the printing done, and therefore gives you a 10 to 15% royalty on average. With hybrid publishers, because you are sharing and paying them for those production costs and paying for the times of their team to consult you, the royalty rates are much higher, anywhere starting out at 50% up to 75%. With hybrid publishing, you will retain more creative control and you'll have the final say over the design, the marketing, and generally the timeline. You don't want to stretch that out too long. And then the publisher will offer all of these professional services for you to kind of pick and choose from. Some of these you will need to do through them, such as cover design and layout and the distribution. Others you can do on your own, such as if you need to find a ghostwriter or have someone else do the editing. Those are some things that you might be able to negotiate or do elsewhere. So why would you choose a hybrid publisher? Well, first off, as I mentioned, you're going to earn more royalties. I've seen as high as 85%, and that's compared to the 10 to 15% with traditional publishers. Now, no, you won't get an advance for your book, but you're going to have a lot more margin in your books to play with. Next is creative control. You have the full control. You decide on the book title, the cover design, your marketing strategy, and if you're going to go print on demand or if you're going to go to a print run and pay for those. Next is that you often have faster publishing timelines. Traditional publishers have a season and a schedule that's sometimes demanded by the printing queue as well as the seasons of when they think that book will publish. Hybrid publishers do consider those, but they can move faster because they're not as concerned with getting things out within a season. Frankly, they are incentivized by getting people through the production process quickly, so then their teams are freed up to work with others. And then finally, you'll have professional support. Unlike when you have self-publishing, you'll have access to the hybrid publisher's professional team of editors, designers, sales team, and the distribution channels they have access to. Whereas if you're self-publishing, you'll have to source all of those on your own. So let's run through the hybrid publishing process if you're thinking of going this route. So first is submission. Similar to a traditional publisher, you'll put together a book proposal, go on the hybrid publisher's website, and find out their submission guidelines and process. I haven't run into a hybrid publisher that requires an agent. After submission, you'll hear at some point from the hybrid publisher, typically faster than a traditional publisher, if they're interested in your book or not. If they are, they'll set up a call to run through their process, talk about your book, and then take the next step on if there is a full interest, what that would look like. If you do move forward and everything is looking promising, you'll go into the contract and costs. The costs that the hybrid publisher outlines should be very clear. If it's not, that's a red flag that you need to potentially look at a different publisher, as they may not be a true hybrid publisher. Ensure that the contract lets you keep your copyright to your book. As for the cost, that will have an extremely wide range because they're going to tell you all that they can do based on the book development, the book publishing, building your brand, and marketing and launching your book. And the good thing is you don't have to pick all of them. And the majority of the publishers that I've seen and worked with will have two quotes where they give the author one quote based on what they recommend for the book, and then they offer the full suite of services in case the author wants to jump into any of those. From what I've seen, most authors will pay at least $15,000, and that could go up to $100,000 depending on the services. Once the costs are understood and the service is selected, the contract will be signed, and then you'll move on into the regular publishing phase under their deadlines and timeline. Now, one of the authors that I've been recently working with is going through a hybrid publisher and has been having a great experience with them. What we've been learning through this is that if you have a shorter timeline on when you need your book published, to make sure you communicate that and follow up. Because in these hybrid organizations, you tend to get passed from the salesperson to your editorial manager, and then there's production managers, marketing managers. So there's a lot of different people, and you're relying on them to communicate. And honestly, with anyone, communication can change and things can get lost in translation. So with that, you need to keep up to speed on what's going on when, and make sure you're holding the hybrid team accountable to your timeline and understanding what the options are if you make different choices and how that impacts the timeline. Now, shameless plug here, this is where an author strategist or consultant can come in and really help you understand the questions you should be asking. Because if you're a new author, you don't know what you don't know, and you may not know what to ask to have going simultaneously, such as having your book title developed as you're finishing up the writing or reviews and edits on your book. At this point, you may be asking yourself, how do you evaluate hybrid publishers? Not all hybrid publishers are created equal. So here's how you can go through and help separate the ones who are true hybrid publishers from those who are either vanity or service providers. First is check reputation and reviews. Look for testimonials and reviews from other authors. The hybrid publishers will list their books, so you can go out on Amazon, find reviews on the book. The authors will most likely have a website. Reach out to the authors and ask them what their experience was, what they liked, what they didn't like, and what could be improved. Next is transparency in costs. A reputable hybrid publisher will provide clear upfront pricing with no hidden fees. Now, you can't ask, are there things that will increase the cost on anything you've been quoted? And that will most likely happen if you're running any type of ads when marketing your book, or if you're doing anything out of the ordinary for the printing of your book, such as embossing the cover. Another way to evaluate is look at the quality of the published books. Find some books that you're interested in and purchase them. Take a look at them, see what you think. Does everything look like it's set well and laid out well in the book? Does the cover design look professional? And then finally, and the most important one, is to ask questions. Get super curious about everything you're considering. Ask what's included in the contract. Confirm who owns the rights, just to make sure that you'll be owning the copyright. Ask about their distribution network. Ask if they have any examples of the services that they're offering and what that looks like and the results of what you would get if you engaged with services such as looking at your author brand or researching your target audience. Get extremely curious to make sure you understand what you're paying for. So let's do a quick review, and then I'll jump into vanity presses and some of the hybrid publishers that we recommend. So some of the pros and cons of hybrid publishing. You get higher royalties, you have more creative control, and you have professional support and faster publishing timelines. Some of the cons are you're going to have significant costs up front, but think of that as an opportunity cost. If they're doing stuff for you, then you can focus on doing other things that's going to bring in additional income for yourself, especially as a consultant or coach. Another con is the varying quality between hybrid publishers. There are standards that organizations have set out there, but that doesn't mean everyone's adopted those standards. And then what we'll go into next is beware of the risk of falling into a vanity press trap. So vanity presses are sometimes considered maybe the dark side of hybrid publishing. And here's how you can avoid them. Vague contracts, hidden fees, and promises that sound too good to be true. If they don't have listed the books that they've published, checking the industry standards that organizations have put out there. The Independent Book Publishers Association, IBPA, has put out standards that they believe of what qualifies for a true hybrid publisher. A true vanity press is there to just pay to play, for someone to pay to have their book designed, printed with no other services outside of that, really. And that works for some people, but you have to be very careful of finding the right fit for you as the author. When you Google hybrid publishers, there's going to be a lot of results that come up. Now, here's the top 5 that we've either worked with or heard that others have recommended because they had a positive experience. And these hybrid publishers are the Amplify Publishing Group, Forefront Books, the Greenleaf Book Group, She Writes Press, and Morgan James Publishing. Now, there are some others that are out there, but these are the ones that we mainly recommend. But just because we recommend them and we've heard good things doesn't mean they're right for you. Make sure you do your research. So if you're considering hybrid publishers, take the time to evaluate your goals, your budget, and the publisher's reputation. Hybrid publishing can be an amazing opportunity if you choose the right partner. And if you need some further help in doing this, go to juxtabook.com and schedule a free consultation, and we can discuss this in the context of the type of book that you're writing and the type of author that you want to be. So thanks for listening to today's episode. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, and you never know, your question might be featured on a future episode. Just go to juxtabook.com/yourpathtopublish, and you'll see a button where you can leave a voice memo with your question, and we'll play it live on the air for a future episode. Thanks for listening today. Go out there, dust off your manuscript, and create a book that provides impact, expertise, and leaves a legacy for you and your readers.